Okay. I'll try to make this quick. I don't have my I'm getting a different table, so I don't have this thing. You're sitting on top of my laundry here, but it's clean laundry. Where's the camera? Over here. And I don't know who the ducks are. I have no idea. I'm not a sport guy. I don't have time for that shit. I want to mention something about the previous video I made, the one about taking self inventory. Just how would you put that? Anyhow, the reason, ideally, that video and anything I make like that, I forget. I need to say something ahead of time before I do a video like that. If you talk about the issue of prepping, SHTF, WROL, conspiracy theory, that kind of stuff, I've been around that my whole life. I mentioned before, since I was like 11 years old. I went to a convention thing with my uncle, and that just started this whole ball rolling. So it's always been around. It's always been something that, back then it was 1984, George Orwell, all this stuff. But I got serious about it in 2008, and then just got frustrated with it. And I got back into it again in 2014. I think the time was the fear that ISIS was going to do some sort of attack on the U.S. for 4th of July. That thing was going around. Some idea like that. And so from like 2014 to 2016, I was kind of into the prepping thing. Then I got out of it. I said I can't do this anymore. Part of it was for my faith reasons, but that's a different video. What I found for me is those topics, SHTF, WROL, the prepping, all this, it makes me a little crazy. Okay? Because I'm seeing the world, I'm reacting to the world. And if you're a prepper, I'm not trying to offend anyone that's a prepper. You see something coming, you need to prep for it, good for you. If you hear that, my cat's trying to break in. Yeah, I hear you. The topic makes me a little bit crazy. So, the seeing the culture around me falling apart, or being told it's falling apart, or potentially falling apart, is a concern. But what it does for me is I see all these things happening, especially right now. Right now is a great example. I think this is the closest we've been to some really bad stuff could be happening. But it's the type of thing that makes me feel helpless. I mean, I'm all, as far as prepping, I could have all the stuff you could possibly prep for. I would still feel helpless because I cannot stop those things outside of me. I cannot stop what's happening with the government or big tech and their effect on the election, or the potential coming amnesty for the elite, all this kind of stuff. I cannot affect that myself. I can really do nothing about it. So you kind of get this idea, I get this idea of helplessness, and it can be paralyzing. Meanwhile, I still have to go to work every day, still got to go out there, kill it, bring it home, and do that whole routine again, all the while knowing that this game could be over, or a tyrannical government, all this kind of stuff. So it makes me nuts. It affects my attitude. It affects how I plan for. It's hard to plan for your business for the next 6 months or a year if you don't know what you think the government. This could all be Republic. It'll be gone in a month or something. Crazy like that. So that's what this topic does to me. Okay. Most people probably don't have that problem. A few do, and that's who I make the videos for. I just know of one or two people that watch my videos that are kind of, this will resonate with them a little bit. Everyone else watches it and they might think, well, he's making a real big deal out of nothing. Maybe so for you. So if my previous video, it's for a targeted small group of people. You might get something out of it if you're not amongst that group. If you have no issue with the SHTF, WROL, all that stuff. If you could go on about your normal day and you have no problem planning for things and you can keep a good attitude. It's very hard for me pretty much, I'll tell this, it's almost impossible for me to maintain a productive attitude when I'm into all this stuff. So it's really, I mean, I still got to go out there and get it done, okay? But it's very difficult for me to maintain an attitude. And the stuff I do, because the cows and all that stuff, that's just work. But I do deal with people, customers in the evenings, and if I got a bad attitude, I'm going downhill fast. So I really have to. It's hard to fake it, you know. So those topics are really hard on. It gives me a bad attitude, helplessness, paralyzing, and I only know this because I've seen it so many times in myself. And there are a few people out there that might be in the same boat. So if I make a video that says, don't worry about the prepping or the SHTF and all that kind of stuff, turn your vision back on yourself. I mean that, but it's you need to get away from the world. If you're one of these people, if you're like me, heaven forbid, if this is an issue for you, you need to turn your focus back on yourself, like I said in the previous video. Get your ducks in a row. And then maybe you can look out, see what's going on. It doesn't mean you cannot be aware. We all have to be aware. But if you're all about that stuff going on out there, which we cannot affect for the most part, and you got problems going on that you can affect, and they're being neglected because your focus is elsewhere, you don't want that. That's not a place you want to be. I've done that. I did that for years. I can't tell you the opportunities I missed and mistakes I made because I was so focused about Obama or decisions that were being made or whatever the case is. But that's just me. Now, if you're someone who has no problem with this topic and you could go about your day and have a stellar attitude, right on. Good for you. God bless you. That's just not me. So when I make these types of videos, it's for those people that kind of have my issue. Okay. That being said, one thing you can do if you're someone who does it like me, once again, put your focus back on yourself. Now, we're closer now probably than we've ever been to some sort of stuff happening. You know, we're dealing with this pandemic thing, or what if it's whatever it is, an over-controlling government. We have a government that's falling apart. You can watch it now. It's a shambles. You can't trust any of it. And all this kind of thing. So, okay, you got to do some things that might not, if you do some things and maybe put yourself in a better light, then by all means do that. But once again, how's your health? How's your spiritual life? How's your relationships? How's your finances? These kind of things. We cannot neglect these things. Matter of fact, if even just your health. Your prayer life does a lot, but if you got your health, you got active, and you're turning those things around, taking your focus off those things and putting it back on yourself, I think that's a real plus right now. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be aware of what's going on around you or the world, but it's just instead of giving it so much energy, we're putting it back on you, your big investments right here. So many things. The previous video and this video, I target this for certain people. This might help certain people. Most of you, there's probably not even an issue for you, and that's fine. That's great. But I wasted a lot of time with a bad attitude for years when I should have put my focus back on myself, been more disciplined about what I was doing, what I was thinking, how I was behaving, and not so much worried about what the so-and-sos were doing and thinking and all this kind of stuff. I would have been in a better place today. It's not a complaint, it's just a fact. Hopefully that was clear. Love you, God bless.